I'm so excited because in a few days' time I'm off to Oxford for a sketching workshop for a week. And we've received the list of supplies from the instructor, and as I was rummaging around drawers and trying to put everything together and find everything in preparation for the trip, I thought it might be a good idea to just make a short video showing what I'm taking with me and how that differs from what I usually use. Obviously all instructors will have their own specific set of equipment, but this will just give you a rough idea if you were going on something like this week's workshop, what you would need. So the first thing is the sketchbook. It's got to be A5 in size and 100% cotton. I did go on a week's workshop with the same instructor a couple of years ago and still have the same sketchbook, the sketchbook that I used then. For some reason I came home and I just put it in a drawer and didn't use it again, probably because it was quite expensive and I probably just thought I'll save it for a rainy day, and now it's that rainy day. So you can actually see some of the sketches I did last time. You can see it's a very different style to my usual style, but I learned an awful lot. It's much more precise than my usual style, different colour palette, and this one's a Hahnemuehle. Next is a mechanical pencil with a 0.5mm lead. I've got this Pentel one here that I bought. Again, it's been sitting in a bag since then, because if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I actually normally use a watercolor pencil, and I like using these because once you then put the pen on and then the watercolor wash, it washes away, so you don't need to rub it out. For this, because I'm using a normal pencil, we've also got to take a kneaded rubber, and I've got this one here, or kneaded eraser should I say, and this is made by Faber-Castell. And the instructor says that she will sketch in pencil, but if you normally use pen, feel free to take a pen. So I am going to take a couple of pens. I don't know if I'll use them or not. And I'm going to take my two favourites, and that is my TWSBI Eco. It's never let me down, it flows beautifully, and it holds a lot of ink, which means I probably don't need to take an ink bottle, which I don't really want to take in case it breaks and spills. And my second favourite pen, which is a Sailor Fude de Manon. So it's a Fude pen with a bent nib. Very much doubt I'll use that one particularly, but I'm going to take them with me anyway. Don't take up much room. Next she says to bring 3 or 4 binder clips. I've always got binder clips with me. It's quite windy around here. These ones are quite good because they've got a hole, so you can clip them in your bag and then attach something like a water cup if it's got carabiner on it. I also have this one. These are quite handy because you can also seal up a packet of crisps or a snack. And also these ones, and these ones are good, these little peg-shaped ones, because they don't really mark the paper, they don't dent the paper, so I like these quite a lot. And finally, a small portable stool. I have one like this. I just picked it up at a camping shop, you know, one of those camping shops where everything's always on sale. I usually take one of these with me. It's called a picnic blanket, which I think is stretching things a little bit. It's very thin, but it does, I wouldn't say fold up, as you can see. It does scrunch up into the bag really easily, and they're great for sitting on damp benches in winter, but we're always going to be sitting on a stool, so I won't bother with that. Oops. Next, bring a portable work surface. I've got one of these, which I bought when I went on this 2 years ago, because a lot of people have got these and I thought they're brilliant. It's a Stablo nomadic easel, and I think you do have to buy them from Stablo directly in France. I don't think there are any distributors, but I might be wrong. But they're very handy, they're magnetic, and you get various attachments with it. I think you can buy extra ones too. So you get one for holding your brushes and one for holding your water pot. You just pull up the elastic and you can fit them in there or in the side, wherever it suits. You open your sketchbook and put the pages in here like this, your metal palette on the magnetic bit, and you're good to go. I've actually got an old cover that I had for a MacBook Air. I did just have this loose in my rucksack, and actually one of these unfortunately scratched it a bit, so I'm now actually going to put it in here. It didn't come with this case, but it's actually perfect size. Now for the watercolour supplies itself, I won't go through the list of colours because obviously they are very specific to this instructor and this particular workshop. But again, like the sketchbook, I still have the palette from the last one, and I still actually have, I printed out the names of the colours and stuck it on there. From looking at it, clearly there's been some changes, so I do need to go through all those and make sure I've got the right colours in here before I set off next week. But going back to the Stablo, you can see that it's quite a strong magnet, and that's perfect for holding it in place while you're sketching. The reason I don't take this with me so much usually is because I quite often use my Winsor & Newton pocket field box, which is plastic, so obviously the magnetic bit is of no use. I was thinking of trying to customise that a little and stick some metal washers or something on the bottom and see if that would work. I haven't tried that yet. And also because I quite often use an A4 sketchbook, which is a little bit too big for this. I have to say, whenever I use this, I remember how much I like using it. It is very, very convenient, and I'm really glad I bought it. Brushes, the goal is to use the biggest brush that you can that still goes to a fine tip. That way the brush can hold a lot of pigment and a lot of water, but you can still get to the finer details. And again, the last time I was there and visited the art shop in Oxford, I bought one of these Da Vinci's in a size 10. So it's probably all I need. I will take my Hahnemuehle travel brushes as well, because they don't take up much room, so there's no harm in taking them. But this is a size 10, and it's nice because it unscrews, and you can see it's got a nice point on it. Next she says to bring some paper towels. I tend to use a sports wristband. I picked up a bargain pack of these on Amazon, and they're really handy. You can just stick them on your wrist and paint on them, and then anybody watching thinks you're just drawing on your clothes. Small scraps of watercolour paper for testing colours. Here's last year's. And a water bottle with water. And to put the water in, I've got this silicone camping cup, which is collapsible. And as I mentioned earlier, it's got a carabiner on it, so I clip it in my rucksack. Obviously, I collapse it first. So that's pretty much what I normally take with me sketching, apart from obviously the pencil and the rubber instead of a watercolour pencil, and the fact that I'm using 100% cotton sketchbook, which is better quality than I usually use. So I've got some spare leads for the pencil, and the other thing that I'm going to take that's not on the list is a small book light. It's USB chargeable with a flexible neck, and you've got warm cold colours, and it just clips on the edge of the book. Because last year I remember, well, sorry, 2 years ago, I remember that we sometimes finished our work back in our hotel room, or sometimes, you know, in a pub or a cafe, and sometimes the lights aren't in convenient places or aren't quite bright enough. So I just thought, that's so small, it's a really handy thing to just stick it in my rucksack, and if we end up, say, in a coffee shop or something, finishes work, it starts raining or whatever, I'm going to have no problems being able to see what I'm doing. So quite a useful little thing. I hope you found it interesting and maybe useful, and hopefully in a few weeks' time I'll have some sketches to share with you from Oxford. Thanks very much for watching, and happy sketching.